Evening, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday night call. So nice to see so many new faces on the call this evening. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Merle Westcott. I'm a Senior Presidential Director and I live in Durban, South Africa. I joined LifeWave in December 2022. And for me, I saw a YouTube of David Schmidt talking to healthcare professionals, and that was enough for me to know that this product was something I definitely wanted to try. At the time, I wasn't interested in the business at all. And in fact, I was shown nothing about the business. So tonight, Kim is going to tell you about the product. I'm going to tell you about the business. And we're going to focus on X39, which is the most phenomenal patch. And we're really, really excited because LifeWave as a company was awarded the Global Bravo Award for the #1 growth company in network marketing last night again. And this is our second year in a row that we've been awarded it. We've grown by 3,000% in the last few years, which is quite phenomenal for a company. So as I say, I joined December 2022. We were brand new in South Africa, although we were at that stage nearly a 19-year-old company. But I will tell you more about the business side just now. And I'm going to hand over to Kim to introduce herself, and Kim is going to do the product side of the presentation this evening. So over to you, Kim.
Thanks, Mel. Evening, everyone. Really nice to be here. So my name is Kim Knight. I'm in a place called White River in South Africa, and I joined in May of last year, 2024, when one day I had a conversation with the beautiful Amanda Ace, who you'll see on the screen, and she said she had something very exciting to share with me. And I was like, I'm not so sure about this, because I knew Amanda was kind of involved with network marketing, and now I'm like, that's not me. But because I know her, like her, and trust her, I said, let's have a chat. And that was it. It was on a Wednesday evening, and the more I heard, and
Is Kim frozen?
Yes, I think so, Mom.
Okay, well, if she doesn't unfreeze soon, Amanda, I'm going to pull you in to help.
Okay.
So maybe just keep going, and if you keep going, and if Kim comes back, maybe introduce yourself too. Sorry, everybody, we have these challenges.
Okay, yes. So I heard about the patches and LifeWave a year ago, January last year, and I thought it was a lot of nonsense, was not interested. But then I got COVID about 3 months later, and my sister by then had already started on the patches, and I saw her incredible results, and I thought it was nonsense. Okay, Kim, you can go on.
You can tell your story when we get to the testimonies, Amanda. Thanks.
That was really weird. But no real medical conditions with me, but immediately I had improvement in sleep. I started dreaming. I started breathing better. I've always had a problem with my nose since I was a kid. And many people, different people, would call me the Energizer Bunny, including my students who are like 3 times younger than me, asking me to slow down. And I still feel like that I'm full of energy. Just a very quick testimonial. A couple in November, I went for some blood tests, and I saw that my glucose and my cholesterol was kind of high, which was very strange for me. I wasn't used to that kind of thing. 2 months later, went to the doctor, beginning of Jan, and my bloods are completely normal. And there's absolutely nothing that I've done except wear the patches. So that's one of my most recent testimonials. And also my doggy, who's 15 years old, he wears the patches. He recently had quite a big op, went under anesthetic, and last week we had a scare with severe gastritis,
Gastritis.
stomach. Yes, there we go. And he's well, and his recovery is like amazing, amazing. So lots of testimonials, but so that's me, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, as Harvey says, and I'm going to go into the product. Thanks, Mel.
Give me a second. I'm just going to
No problem.
share the screen.
Okay, so here we start with LifeWave. So exciting, and we always say, have you been patched yet? So some of us on the call have been patching for a while or a very short while, and some of us haven't patched yet. And whatever it is, you're in the right place. And it really is all about elevating, activating, and regenerating our stem cells. And we can't speak about LifeWave without speaking about David Smith, who is the CEO and inventor of X39. He has over 180 patents now, actually. And he's not a medical doctor, he's a scientist and inventor. And he specializes in age reversing. So not stopping aging, but age reversing, getting younger, basically. And in 2008, he started focusing his attention on stem cell research. I don't know if you remember back then, the whole thing about stem cell transplants and injections, was being talked about. And this recent patent, which we're talking about, the X39, took 10 years of his life and studies and everything, and $4.5 million to bring to market. So nothing to be sneezed at. Thanks, Mark. It's a patented technology. So if you know anything about a patent, it's really not easy to do. You have to go through lots of trials and case studies. Basically, what you've got to prove that what you say it does, that it does. So really part of it, what it says is that it causes a beneficial effect, at least by providing phototherapy to a human body. And for example, in some embodiments, as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing, many of which I've actually witnessed myself. So why X39 stem cell activation patch? So this is really, I didn't know any of this before I got into LifeWave. The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. So hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging, as we see around us, our friends, our family, and maybe even ourselves. At the age of 30, only half of your stem cells are active. And by the age of 60, you lose almost all stem cell activity. And that's why it takes when someone falls or gets sick at the age of 60, 70, 80, it just takes a lot longer to heal than when you were younger. So how does it work? It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. If you think of phototherapy, I always think of the incubators in hospitals when premature babies are placed in incubators and they have those infrared lights put around them to help them to heal. And that really is, phototherapy. It's patent nanocrystal, so very small crystal technology. As I said, it reflects light to activate. It's non-transdermal. There are absolutely no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants in the patch, which looks like this. You can't, okay, sorry, you can't see it with my screen. There we go. And it's non-invasive. So nothing goes into your skin. There's no injection or anything. Many benefits of X39. I'm just going to mention 8. Most of these I have experienced myself. Increased strength, reduced inflammation, increased stamina, energy and vitality, as I said. Mental clarity, which is a wonderful one. Restored muscle or skeletal conditions, improvements of sleep, which I mentioned, and improved skin appearance. And really, it's about achieving optimal health, a state of complete physical, not only physical, but complete physical, mental, and social well-being. We must also say at this stage that LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition, but many, many miracles happen, which you'll see later on. So nowadays, you can take a photograph of the brain, which is incredible. And this is a topography map of a 77-year-old woman. And they placed the X39 on the back of her neck. So in session 1, when just before, the X39, you can see inflammation in the brain, a lack of brain coherence, a lot of inflammation there. Put the X39 on her, session 2, which is 3 weeks later, as you can see, no more inflammation and improved brain coherence. And in session 3, which was after 6 weeks, complete turnaround, just 6 weeks, and better brain coherence. So it can be noted that when she came in, her brain was hyperactive, and her brain calmed down dramatically at the second visit, as we've seen. after wearing the patch for 3 weeks, and her brain then remained calm after wearing the patch for 6 weeks. So X39 and long-term results. You can actually see all these case studies on thisisit.info.com. Merle will talk about the 2 websites later on, but please take note of that. It's a fantastic website. And in the first few days, what happens is 4,000 genes begin to reset in your body. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced, as we saw with the lady before in the previous slide. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased, which is very, very important. It's one of the most important proteins to heal your organs, not only your hair and skin. And within 6 months, your heart reverses in age up to 8 years. They've proven that as well with case studies. So as we said before, and David Smith said, it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. Your heart's actually getting younger. So how do you wear it? It's very easy. So you wear your patch 12 hours on, 12 hours off. 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. Then you throw the patch away, or not really. The patch still has life in it, and then we call it the second-hand patch, which then I put on my little furry baby Tao. Then you put a new patch on the next day and repeat exactly the same process. You can wear more than one patch at a time, and what we mean by that is we don't only have the X39 patch, that is our flagship and the most recent invention, or maybe not, maybe it's the X49, but we have other patches such as inflammation patch called Aeon, Ice Wave for pain, SP6 for weight loss, etc. So you can wear an X39 and any one of the other patches or more at the same time. It's important to drink plenty of water. We must help the patch facilitate the process, and we also encourage you to take electrolytes every day. So it's really so sophisticated, but so simple to explain. And the testimonies of X39 are truly life-changing and emotional. And I've actually shed a tear more than once on this course or on this presentation. So the best thing about X39, it's absolutely. And with that, we're going to open up right more to some testimonies.
Absolutely, we're going to open up to some testimonies. So Amanda was busy giving her testimony when you disappeared. So we're going to ask her to finish her testimony, and then we'll go from there.
So yes, I didn't believe it in the patches. I thought it was a lot of nonsense. I saw my sister with a lot of results, but then I got COVID and I got very, very sick. And after 3 weeks, I could still not work. I could not get in front of my computer. I could not get out of bed. And at one stage, I said to my husband, just come and walk with me so I can just get out of these 4 walls. And we walked 150 meters, and my heart wanted to jump out of my chest. I was out of breath. At that stage, if I wanted to put on makeup, I was out of breath. And it was a very scary place to be if you have to work for yourself and earn an income, and you can't even walk 150 meters. And then my sister, because she was so worried about me, she gave me some patches. I put the first patch on the back of my neck, and I fell asleep. And 2 hours later, when I woke up, there was nothing wrong with me. Absolutely nothing. But I didn't believe it. I thought I just had a good sleep. And I kept on walking slowly, but everything went great. And the Sunday I went to church and did everything slowly, but it went great. And Monday I thought, let me see if I can do the 150 meters. Now we live in a farm and it's lots of mountains. And that I went walking with my dog. We walked 1.5 kilos without a problem. 4 days later, when I looked at my watch, I'd already walked 9,000 steps. And since then, I've just patched everybody, and I just keep on patching because I know from all the testimonies, the longer you patch, the more results you get. And in the meantime now, I sleep like a baby. I don't wake up in the middle of the night 2 or 3 times to go to the toilet. My skin feels like when I put cream on it, it feels like I've already done it, because it just feels like it's saturated. My heels are soft. And when I went for blood tests a while ago, I didn't know that anything was wrong. And when I asked them, how's my blood test? They said, no, everything is fine. And I said, but is there any difference, any changes? And they said, yes, your kidney functions have improved. And that to me was really awesome, seeing that in blood tests. And I didn't even know there was anything wrong. So I just absolutely love LifeWave, and I just love how you can make a difference in people's lives. As Kim says, I've cried many, many tears by just seeing the difference that you can make in somebody's life. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Amanda. Amanda, you said you heard an amazing testimony today, and it was from
Mandy.
Mandy. So if we can ask Mandy to share her testimony next, that would be great. Ah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mandy.
Uh, so Trish told me about the LifeWave patches in May last year. But I'm by nature quite cautious when it comes to these kinds of things. So I did a lot of research, and then had a bit of a scare last year when I found a lump, and but was also in the middle of menopause. In 2016, I was diagnosed with ME, which is like an autoimmune disease where a lot of pain, chronic fatigue, but you never sleep. So I've managed that over the years just with pain meds and anti-inflammatories and that kind of thing. But really did not want to go on HRT, but needed some kind of intervention because I just really wasn't coping. So I thought, well, now's probably a good time to start the LifeWave patches. So I did the beginning of February. I started patching with X39 and Eon. And within 2 or 3 days, I slept through the night, and then when I woke up in the morning, I realized that I actually hadn't taken my sleeping tablet, which normally I would, I just would not sleep at all. And then we went away, and I forgot my pain meds behind, and kind of hit a bit of a panic, but there was nothing I could do. And then slowly realized while we were away that I actually had no pain. So it's not something I would suggest to anybody to go cold turkey on the kind of pain meds, and they use antidepressants for nerve pain and that kind of thing. When I say cold turkey, I just stopped, but it's not, like I say, something I would suggest, but it happened. And so I'm now about 6 weeks into patching. I don't take any pain meds. I don't take any sleeping tablets. And really, it's been a game changer. I started patching with X49 about 3 weeks ago because my muscles, because of the autoimmune thing, my muscles are very weak. And I went for my bone density scan, and so there was some problems there. So within a week, I've been able to start exercising again. Normally, what would happen if I exercised, I would be sort of flat on my back for 3 days because of the post exertion from the ME. And I exercise every day. I'm doing weights, swimming. So for me, it has been an absolute life changer, really. So I'm just really excited about the journey, my own journey, and helping other people. Yeah, I think for me, it's a great, great privilege, and I'm incredibly grateful for the product because of the way it's changed my life.
Oh, thank you, Mandy. That is amazing. And we can't wait to see when your ME is not there at all anymore. Because
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've heard Dr. Kathy Mercer's testimony, but
No,
she's had ME since her teens, and she's in her 40s now. And her story's amazing. A year in, and she's like a completely different person. She even looks different. So
amazing. Yeah, no,
you are
incredibly
well on your
grateful.
way. So thank
Yeah,
you for sharing.
absolutely.
Just give you some hope that it's going to get better and better, allowing you
I'm
to
excited.
yeah. So
Excited. Thank you.
okay, so next, as some of you might have seen, Des is on the call. I always talk about him. He never talks himself. So we're going to hand over to him to share his testimony.
Hi. Yeah, as Merle mentioned, I'm Des, Merle's husband. And I just want to share with you all just a simple thing, something I didn't really even notice until I was told. A bit of background: my mother has, and myself and my sister have been identified with hereditary gum disease. The gum recedes from the teeth, and your teeth aren't loose in your sockets, but there's gaps between the teeth and the gums. My mother actually had to go for an operation where they cut a little wedge of gum out of her out of each tooth and stitched it up for every tooth in her mouth. And so we've always been very aware of that. And a lot of the dental hygienists and dentists I've been to, they said, no, you got to do this, you got to clean like this, and cleaning regime and all of that. And I was at the dentist recently having a chipped tooth fixed, and he was saying that because we were talking about changing an old crown to a newer type and and just matching it better. And he was saying, no, well, I'm quite lucky that I haven't got any evidence of the gum loosening gap creating thing at all. So interestingly, so it just it really struck out for me that now something has changed, because this is something that I know I have had, and I know it should be getting worse, and now I don't have it anymore. What else have I done differently other than use the X39 patches? It's the only thing I can attribute it to. Yeah, but thanks for listening to my rambling. That's my simple story.
And his hair is getting darker now. The grey is
Allegedly.
going.
Allegedly.
Because allegedly, Candace said in November that it was growing more than when she'd seen it in August. But anyway, thanks, Des. So now you've heard it from Des instead of from me. So who else would like to share a testimony? I know we all share our husbands' testimonies because they don't really talk very much themselves. Melissa's got a good one. She's
And
got her
Jonathan
camera
too.
on.
He put his hand up, Mark.
Who does?
Jonathan put his hand up.
Okay, well, let's do Melissa and then we'll go to Jonathan.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. Hey, guys. Sorry. Just with my daughter.
Okay, let's do Jonathan and then we'll go to Melissa.
Okay. So I had a back injury. It's about 2 years ago now. I had a wrestle with a calf on a farm, and I threw out my lower back. And long story short, changed my morning routine because my back was in agony. Like from the next day when I woke up. The next day when I woke up, I couldn't get myself dressed. My wife helped me get dressed and helped me walk to the car. And yeah, doctors, x-rays, and they said rest and stretch because the muscles around my sciatic nerve were inflamed and putting pressure on the nerve. And if I just rested and stretched, it would get better. Then I rested and I stretched, and about 3 weeks later, I was like operational, functional, but still in a lot of pain all day, every day. And most especially in the morning when I would wake up, my morning routine for a year and 2 months about was wake up, realize I'm about to be in a lot of pain, take a deep breath, swing my legs out of bed. And like that motion was extremely, extremely painful. And then I'd sit on the edge of my bed and just like stretch that lower back a little bit, move it until I'd finally like brave standing up. That would be the most intense pain. And then I'd crack on with my day. And I'd like live my day like that. Any movement hurting. If I picked up my daughter, it hurt. If I picked up something off the floor, it hurt. And then I found out about this wonderful technology, put it on myself. 2 months later, I woke up for the first time in over a year with no pain. And the morning routine, I woke up, braced for the pain, swung my legs out of bed, and it wasn't there. And I was like, no, this is absolutely insane. And like, yeah, it's been better since then. I have overdone it once or twice and re-injured myself, but then recovered again. And as soon as I found out about this, immediately told my dad. My dad has cardiac failure. He's had a pacemaker put in, and he's been deteriorating over the years. And it had gotten to a point where he was battling to walk from the house to the car, and he had a walker to do so. Told my dad about this phenomenal technology. He got some 2.5 months later. My mom phones me and she's in tears. And she says, my boy, you won't believe it. I went to town today with your dad and he walked 45 minutes without sitting down. And like, I was like, Mom, you're lying. Like my dad has not done that in like 10 years at least. And like now he's gotten rid of the walker. He's no longer using it. He has a stick, which he's using. He's come off half of his pain medication, which he was taking before because he's got, high blood pressure, arthritis, gout disease, because he's got a bunch of stuff. But these patches are doing him wonders. And like, yeah, I'm just feeling very blessed to have it in my life and also to share my testimony. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Melissa.
Okay, hi everybody. I feel like mine is actually not that dramatic after some of the other ones we've heard, but basically in September last year, we'd moved to the North Coast, and after the stress of packing up our old house and moving, my husband got really sick, and doctor's visits and chiros and physios, we couldn't seem to figure out what was wrong with him. But long story short, I really got worried. He looked like it was really something serious and sinister. And after many tests and doctor's visits, he was diagnosed with polymyalgia. And I somehow managed to convince him to start patching. And he was very skeptical, but he humored me and he started putting X39 on every day. And then in September, a little bit towards the end of September, he added Aeon. And I can honestly say it's been, how long is it now? A couple of months. He has weaned himself off completely off all his meds. He no longer takes any of the cortisone, and he's recently stopped the mixed methotrexate or whatever it is that they give him. And he is actually managing without any painkillers. And if anyone knows polymyalgia, it's terribly painful. He really was in a miserable state and unhappy and sore and couldn't do anything. He's even surfing. He's just come back from Mozambique with all his friends. So it's actually given him his life back. It's been amazing for him. And that's yeah, very encouraging.
Thanks, Melissa. So in our team, that's 2 polymyalgia stories, which is great, because those of you who know Alex, who often presents with me on a Monday night, and it took me 8 months to persuade her to start patching, 20 years of polymyalgia, and 10 months later she was pain-free. And why I'm mentioning 10 months is we hear these stories and often they're quick. So Des's gums, it's 2 years in that the dentist said your gums are fine. Some other things obviously happen first, but stem cells are always going to go where they need to go to heal first. And we can't choose. So you can't say, well, I've got a sore back. I'm going to start patching. It's going to work on my back. Because maybe it's not. Maybe there's an issue with your heart that's more important, and your body knows better than you do. And the stem cells are going to go where they need to go first. So things always heal in the order that the body needs to heal, and say your body is more intelligent than you are. And the stem cells work systemically. So although the patch might be very small, and you might think, well, how is it doing this? When it's activating or elevating your copper peptides and then activating your dormant stem cells, the stem cells are being activated systemically. So they're all being activated. And with Melissa talking about Eon, what happens is Eon is a patch that works on inflammation. Now, polymyalgia is an inflammatory disease. It's an autoimmune disease. So the X39 would have been targeting the inflammation to start with and not doing the repair. As soon as you add the Eon, you cut the inflammation, and the stem cells have a better chance of being able to do the repair that they need to do. And that's why you would have seen a bigger result. So sometimes if there's a lot of inflammation, we would use Eon, which is a supplementary patch with X39 to start with, because you're going to have a much better result. So thank you everybody for the testimonies. Let's go back to the presentation. Testimonies are always our best part of the presentation, because it's when we get to hear the miracles, or those of you who knew get to hear some of the miracles that we hear about every single day. And it's such a blessing in my day to get the messages of the newest, changes in somebody's life. So as Kim said to you a bit earlier on, this is at info.com, is a site that you can find all kinds of information at. You can spend as little time or as much time there as you like. You'll find the patents, you will find testimonies, you'll find David Schmidt talking, little video explaining how the light works with the patches, Dr. Leyland Stillman talking about it, a panel of doctors at the bottom, everybody from chiropractors to anesthetists to cardiovascular surgeons, speaking about how they use the patches in their practice. And you could spend a lot of time on that site. So as I said, I was going to talk about the business. So when I joined, I knew nothing about the business. So it was only the following year. So I joined in December 2022. I wasn't going to tell anyone. But by the following year, I realized what I had in my hands. And since I've been in healthcare for the last 30 years, I realized that I couldn't not tell people about it, because how could I know that I had a patch that could change people's lives and not spread the word. So I thought, well, if I'm going to tell my friends and family, I better find out a little bit about this company. So at the time, we were a 19-year-old company. We turned 21 this year, so we're a 20-year-old company. We're now open in over 80 countries. And the really important thing about LifeWave is that we're not a Me Too product. So there are many amazing multi-level marketing companies out there, but they have weight loss and skincare and supplements, all kinds of other things. But if I say to you, I've got a weight loss product, you're going to say, well, I've got one too. And then when you're short of money, you're going to go and buy something at your local supermarket. It might not be as good, but that's what you're going to do. Now with LifeWave, the only place that you can get the patches is from a brand partner or from, like, my local pharmacy stock them, but they are a brand partner, and as per the company regulations, they have to sell, if they sell over the counter, at retail price, which is 50% more than you can buy it from a brand partner or even from them if you sign up as a preferred customer or brand partner underneath them. So since X39 came to market, the company's growth has been absolutely phenomenal. So in 2021, we did a $20 million a year turnover. We would have been doing that for a couple of years. 2022, it went up to 320 million. Now we remember the product was patented in 2020. In 2023, we did 430 million. Last year, over 600 million, and we're on track to do over $1 billion this year. The sales are up month on month from last year already. So LifeWave is ranked the #1 momentum company on businessforhome.org, which is what I spoke about right at the beginning of the call. It's an American site. There are over 100 multi-level marketing companies there, and they rate the companies on different things. So we are under the momentum company. So we have the most momentum out of every company that's listed on the site. And we had a 3,000% growth since 2018, which is quite phenomenal. This is last year's picture. There's Meredith, who's our president, with some of her corporate team, getting the Global Bravo Award last year. On the left is Steve and Gina Merritt, who started the This Is It team. They joined 6 months before I did. And with them, you can see David Schmidt and again, Meredith, our president. I'm sure we'll have a new slide very soon because last night we received the same award, 2nd year in a row. So we have maintained our rank as the #1 momentum company in network marketing. And that's quite phenomenal, 2 years in a row. Now, at this point in the presentation, I always ask you to take a minute to just think about what is most important in your life. Why is it that you're on the presentation this evening? Is it because of your family? Do you want time freedom? What about security? Do you want to travel? What about better health or less debt? When I joined LifeWave, nobody showed me any of this. I just heard, as I said, I just heard David Schmidt talking, and all I wanted was that better health. The technology made perfect sense to me, and I was determined that I was going to patch, even though at the time, and if Des is still on, he can tell you later, he thought I was absolutely crazy because he was like, okay, you're doing something mad again. You put this all on a credit card, you can't actually afford it, and here you go. But what I can tell you is 2 and a bit years later, we have absolutely no debt, and we're busy doing a huge renovation to our house, and we can say thank you, LifeWave, that we can afford to do that. So we have an incredible compensation plan in LifeWave. Now, of course, we can't guarantee anybody an income. It all depends on how much work you put in. And I didn't start earning in the beginning because I wasn't going to tell anybody. It took me until the February the following year to realize what I had my hands on and to actually start to tell people. So when we introduce people to LifeWave, if they decide they're going to come on as a customer, they never want to tell a single person about the product, they can get wholesale price as long as they become a preferred customer, which means they have a monthly recurring order, which can be cancelled at any time. So if you sign up a preferred customer or sign up as a preferred customer under the person who invited you today, they will get commission from that, and they will get some volume every time you purchase, but you get wholesale price. If you sign up as a brand partner, the person who signs you up gets what's called a product introductory bonus. But as we like to say, that's a one and done. They get a bonus for bringing you in, but if they want to earn money and they want to help you succeed, they need to help you build a team. So if we look at this picture, which is the binary, we only ever grow 2 legs in LifeWave. People have 2 legs. LifeWave has 2 legs. One of the legs is the leg that you are going to be put on. So underneath your sponsor, they're going to put you on a leg, and it could be their left leg or their right leg, whichever leg they put you on, you are going to get spillover from the team above you, which means your sponsor, maybe their sponsor, and anybody who's come in between. The other leg you're going to grow yourself, but then the people you put on that leg, everything that they do is also going to help you build. So it's an incredibly fair system because people who come in can out-earn the people who brought them in. If those people do nothing, they can out-earn people who've been in the company for 20 years. So it works amazingly well. Once you bring in 4 people, you become what is known as the manager. So you've got 2 on each leg, and you open up the whole compensation plan for binary commission, or we call it team commission. And team commission comes from all the volume that's created on both legs. Every time you have 660 volume on your greater leg, 330 on your lesser leg, you get what's known as a cycle bonus. And some of you might have heard Kim at the beginning congratulating somebody on getting their first cycle bonus. And getting that first cycle bonus is very exciting because that's when you realize what this binary actually means. I think Amanda's got a smile on her face because she knows exactly how it works. So the cycle bonuses are capped for senior presidential directors at 25,000 US dollars a week. And there are many people who max that out every single week. So it really is an incredible part of the compensation plan. But wait, that's not all. We have something called matching bonuses. Now I'm going to whiz over this because unless you are a manager, matching bonuses mean nothing in your life. But once you're a manager, matching bonuses are unlimited. So anybody that you bring in, that means your first line. So people I sponsor, they're my first line. Every cycle bonus they get, I get 25% of it, but not of their money. They still get their full $50. The company says, Merle, you've done a great job. You've helped them achieve. So we are going to give you $12.50 for every 50 they get. Now that adds up because if you have 100 people who are all getting cycles, some might be getting 1 cycle a week, some might be getting 30 cycles a week, some might be getting more. It really does add up. Then the second line, that's the people that they signed up, you get 20% on, and the third line, you also get 20%. And of course, with that being unlimited, it can be a substantial amount of money every week, but you have to be a manager to tap into that. So how do you come into LifeWave? I always say you come in where you fit in. So many people start on core, especially in South Africa. It's $295. It gives you 3 sleeves of patches. And David Schmidt says everybody should patch for 90 days. So it gives you those three sleeves to follow the 90-day protocol. Or when I did that, Des and I did a sleeve each. And then I said, okay, well, the next sleeve would take us through 2 weeks of the next month, and then I would upgrade. But a friend ended up wanting it, and she bought it from me. And I don't even think she ever used it properly. She now does believe in patches, though, because she's had incredible results with Icewave patches. Anyway, when you upgrade, you pay the balance of the package and you get the balance of product. If, however, you come into this business and you know that you are going to go manager, so people come in and they go manager in a day or 2 days, then advanced is where you need to be because on core, you don't have enough personal volume to be a manager. You need 300 personal volume, that PV next to the 300 under advanced. Under core, you only have 180, but that gets added to with every single sleeve of patches you buy. So if you only come in on 180 and the next month you buy a sleeve of X39, you get 77, it gets added on. But the person who invited you will explain that all. But anyway, if you come in on advanced, you bring in your 4 people, you can go manager straight away, but you also get a nice discount. Because on advanced, it costs you $535 and you can get 6 sleeves of X39. So already the price is dropping. You can also replace any 1 sleeve of X39 with 2 sleeves of supplementary patches. For example, Eon and Icewave or Energy Enhancer or Carnosine or Glutathione or Alavida or any one of our supplementary patches. If you're a serious entrepreneur or you know that you are going to be moving patches through your practice, or what I do now is I always have extra patches. So if I sign somebody up in person, I give them a sleeve to use until theirs arrives, and then they will give me the sleeve back. Then you're going to come in on premium. Premium is going to cost you $1,750, which means that your X39 drops to $87.50 a sleeve. So if you're going to retail it, you're going to make more out of it. Or if you've got a big family, it's cheaper. And the great thing about premium is you don't have to purchase product for 3 months and you get volume for 3 months, so you stay active. So what do I mean by saying staying active? If you had any kind of business, you would need to be buying product and selling it to stay in business. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. If you have a florist shop and you buy no flowers and sell no flowers, nobody makes any money and you have overheads like rent, etc. On LifeWave, you have no costs except for your product. and you need to stay active. So you can stay active by signing up preferred customers or buying yourself. So you need 1 sleeve of patches a month until you are a manager. Once you're a manager, you need 2 sleeves of patches a month to stay active. Now, X39 would be 1. So for example, Des and I both patch with X39, so that's 2 sleeves a month. Until recently, when our son went to work in the States, along with the supplier of patches and now his own account, we were getting 3 sleeves of X39 every month, because that's what we needed to use. So you're not forced to buy stuff that you don't need. It's all the product that you need. So if you're single, you could be buying an X39 and an Eon because you might be using that every month, or maybe there's another patch that you know you love and you want to use. So that's how the subscription works, and that means you keep your volume, which is important if you want to earn. So we spoke about This Is It info just now. We have another website called thisisateam.com. And This Is a Team is your business building site. So again, put together by Steve and Gina, and everything that you need to build a business is there, all the explanations. So if you bought a franchise, you would get a big, thick franchise manual. You might have webinars that you need to watch. This is the same. So I've whizzed over the compensation plan. If you're the kind of person who's not going to join until you know exactly how the compensation plan works, then you go to thisisateam.com, you go to compensation plan, and you go watch Danny McDaniel spending an hour explaining it to you and drawing it all out on a whiteboard and explaining exactly how we earn. And it really is phenomenal. If you think, well, I build 2 legs, so how do I make sure people get from the right leg to the left leg? You go into the onboarding and you go to the section where it talks about binary, and there's a 3-minute video that explains how you move your legs. So it's all there for you. When I joined, it wasn't. We had to figure it all out ourselves because Steve and Gina hadn't put this together for us yet, but now it's all done for you. So it really is a plug and play business. As long as you plug in to the training, you have an incredible business opportunity in your hands. So the time is now to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? There is hope for your future, and it's just about getting started with X39. So thank you everybody for listening to us this evening. And if you have any questions, go back to the person who invited you. They will be able to answer absolutely everything. And then I'm always picking on Amanda. Always say to, we get to this stage, Amanda came in because she wanted the business opportunity. Unlike me, she saw the greater vision. Or she thought she did. And then she realized that it was way bigger than she even thought. So I'm going to ask Amanda to share her perspective before we finish for the evening.
Thanks, Mel. Yeah, I actually want to share something different today because I realized something as I was speaking to somebody. You know, when you start and people talk about volumes and you don't actually know what it means. But today I was just looking at the people in my team, and as Mel was explaining, you're not building on your own. It's not only the people that you bring in, it's the people, your uplines bring people in under your legs, and your downlines, when they do things that count towards your points and everything. But I was just looking at the people that I brought in my first line, personally brought in. And I brought in about 45 people so far. But when I looked at my total team, it's already over 600 people. And it was just like this wild thing, you know, it's really just it's not only you building on your future. It's your uplines helping you, it's your downlines helping you. And if you put the work in, you will be rewarded. To me, that's just been really, really awesome seeing that again today. Thank you, Mom.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. And it really is when you start looking in your back office, and I start working with people. There are people in my business that are 10, 11, 12 lines down from me. You know, if we go down the binary, if somebody introduced them and somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and all of a sudden I find them. It's like finding a gem. There's this person who wants to build a business. We've just broken a manager in the UK. We talk about breaking a manager. So created a new manager in the UK on the weekend, and she didn't know what to do. She was sitting in a group and she mentioned to someone she wanted to build, and I was told, and we did a call and she went manager, and she is so excited because she's also been in healing for years. So it really is a case of finding the gems. You know, it's like mining. We go down and we find, you know, down into the deep of our teams to find the people who want to be worked with. So it's very, very exciting. So thank you everybody for being with us this evening. Thank you, Kim, for presenting with me. I will upload the video as soon as it downloads.